Hi, this is Jonathan Electromatic, and today I'm going to go over the web interface for our Push2See product. It's a small LED display with a PLC controller that gives you the ability to have some digital I/O associated with the messages. We have these in 8 or 16 input packages. It can scale up to be as big as you need, but the whole idea is that you would have some discrete inputs that would trigger different messages. There's also a RESTful API that I'll be demonstrating, so you could also get this with as few inputs as possible and just use it to display default messages that you could update via API. Okay, so the signs come with the IP address for the controller displayed like this. So we're going to go ahead and enter this into our browser. And you're greeted with this bulk edit message page, but we're gonna go to the edit message page first. Okay, so here's the edit message page, and as you can see, we have a list of messages on the right. The messages are in descending order of priority, so default plays when no other input is on. Input 1 plays if any or all of the inputs are on. Input 2 plays if input 1 is not on and it's on, and any of or all of the others, so one overrides anything below it, 2 overrides anything below it. We have a character length hint here. This is basically so that you can give yourself an idea of how many characters you can enter before it starts scrolling. The maximum number of characters to the top and bottom texts are 255 respectively, or 255 for both. So you could set both these 255 and not worry about it, or you could give yourself a little hint as to how many characters you could enter before the bottom starts to scroll or the top starts to scroll. You can select these messages just by clicking on them, and it'll tell you which one is selected with a orange bounding box. As you select, all of the parameters for this message get loaded into the various fields here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to change this one real quick to date and time. So we'll do date on top, time on bottom, and we'll make it normal 7, normal 7. That'll fit. Normal 14 is like this right here, so we wouldn't be able to fit 2 lines. We want to use scroll fill, and let's change the color from green to yellow. You can have 2 different colors, so we'll do green and red. Oh, I did yellow and red. Okay. Okay. So here we have okay, here we go. So here we have the date on the top and the time on the bottom. The time is updating in real time. So you could put any sort of message you want. Let's say that I wanted to have something static on top, and then I have a longer message on the bottom. All right, so now we have a static message on the top, a scrolling message on the bottom. So the scroll speed can be changed here. There's not too much difference on a display like this. So I don't even think that's slowed down. Sometimes, I must not have selected this first. Let's try that. Okay, so it's definitely on slowest. Okay, so it's going a little bit more slowly. And then here's fastest, just to give you an idea of the range. Okay, so again, that'll work for any of these. Let's say that I updated this one and I wanted to put the date here and the message here. And I wanted my message to be 5. So as you can see, it displays this one for about 10 seconds before switching back to the default message. That's to give you some visual feedback whenever you update these. Okay. So all of these options are kind of self-explanatory. If we make this shorter, we can set it to flash. So let's turn that on. So flashing is not currently animated here, but as you can see, it's flashing. And, you know, obviously flashing works for the top and the bottom. They'll both flash at the same time. Then if you have a long message, flashing will be disabled. So as you can see, it's scrolling, but not flashing. You just saw it flash. That's because the message updated, but we'll go over that in a second. Okay. All right, so let's go back to date and time. And we'll turn off flashing. Okay, so the first option we have under edit message is bulk reformat. The whole idea here is that I'm going to, let me duplicate this. It's like, what if I wanted, to update all of my messages at once for the formatting? So let's say I want them all to be yellow. So go yellow, and let's say I want them all to be, I'll just say size 5 and left aligned. Left. Okay. So as you can see, it's yellow, size 5, left aligned, and the web page is updated. This updates about every 6 seconds, so you'll have to, you know, wait before you see that. Okay, so why is there no display like this here? It turns out that when you load this page, it takes a little bit of time. It takes maybe 3 seconds, 2-3 seconds. So I created the bulk reformat and bulk edit message page to load quickly. So as you can see, when you click on this, it basically loads instantly, whereas this has a little bit of a delay. So if you're editing a lot of messages, it's best to just do as much as you can in the bulk area and then do any sort of fine tuning in the edit message window, which is why I gave you a display here so you can see what you're doing. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna center align everything and go back to 7. And change back to green. Okay, so it looks like it changed back. Close this down. Everything looks good now. Okay, so the next page is the bulk edit message page. This is the same thing, except it goes for the messages. So if you have a bunch of messages you want to enter and have them update all at once, you can do it here. So I'll just do it like a first, middle, last thing. So I maybe hit 4 messages. And as you can see, it's kind of got first top up here, first top, middle, middle bottom, and last. So if we were to go here, we would see these changes are in here as well. So yeah, go ahead and change these back. You can enter these flags as that the preset selector puts in manually if you want, and it'll do the date and time and everything. Okay. So that should have been everything. Okay, looks good. Okay, so the next thing is set time. As you can see here, the time is updating. If I wanted to change the time for whatever reason or set the time initially, you can do that here. So I changed it to 12:26 and now it's 12:26, but it's really 8:30 p.m. So let me change it back. And change back. Okay, diagnostics is for tech support use. As I said, there's a PLC that controls this, so this just kind of gives you some insight as to what's going on inside that PLC. Okay, so last message sent. Last message sent is, again, for troubleshooting purposes. Basically, it gives you the interval remaining on the send interval timer and also the last message that left. So as you can see, when I hover over this, it pauses. So this is 42 here, but it's 49 seconds on the clock to the right. It does that so that you're able to select everything, copy it. Now I could send it off to whoever might want to look at this character string. Okay, so what is the send interval? Well, the send interval, the message has two send triggers. One is when the send interval timer expires, and the second is when the message changes. So because the time changes every second a send request is sent to the sign. But the send interval timer is there in case you have like a static message that doesn't quite update correctly. You can set a send interval timer and it will resend the message in that interval. That's available here under system parameters, as well as the length hint for the top and the bottom, which is what we talked about before. So you can modify this. I would recommend that you keep it above 30. Anything between 30 and 2 minutes and 122 minutes is good. Basically, if you set it very small, so like let's set it to 3, and I have a scrolling message. So now what you're going to see is this will stop scrolling mid-message and resend the message. So that's why you don't want to have a short send interval timer, because it'll interrupt any sort of scrolling you might have. Okay, so now that's it for the user interface. We're going to do a quick demonstration of the API. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my cheat sheet here. Okay, so an API is available to send updated messages to the sign. So basically, you can modify any of these message parameters like scroll speed, color, size. It's basically exactly like the edit message page. You give it a message index and what you want to change, and it will update the message on the sign. So right now I have message index of 0, a color of 7, which, let's see here, color 7 is red. So it looks like it's going to send red text to the top and the bottom. Okay, so let's see if it works. Okay, so we updated message 0 with red text on the top and the bottom. Looks like the size is 9, so let's put it back to the way it was before. Normal 7. It needs a 10. So let's change that. Let's just change them one at a time. Should be the bottom. Okay. And now we'll change the top. All right. So as you can see, every time it sends it out, this URL is updated. This is standard, I'm sure you've used a RESTful API before. You understand how it works. The endpoint on the sign is IP address AWP sign manager API.html. The controller requires a suffix. It requires file types. So you can't just have like a /API or anything. Anyway, the key value pairs are available in documentation. You know, the list of the keys that it'll accept for API update, in addition to the values that everything, the decoded values, like, 7 is red, whatnot. And the response is well-formatted JSON. So it just, tells you, basically it echoes back your change. So it gives you the message that you modified and the parameters that got changed. So if I were to go over to a JSON formatter, as you can see, it validated, no problem. So that's that. Okay, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.